Hey everybody, it's Christine from Number Curls, and yes, I am all the way live. It has been a minute that I've done this, y'all, so please show me some mercy and some grace, because when I was trying to figure out how to do all of this, it was a mess. But this is going to be the first of many hot hair summer series. It's going to be happening every single Sunday from starting at 3:30. And just tune in, and I'm just going to go through all of the different things that you'll need to have a hot hair summer. So shout out to everybody who is currently in here and in the building. And if you haven't checked out the details for today's live, it is you are using your bonnet wrong. And yes, I put this bonnet on my head for a reason. I'm just not walking out here with a bonnet on my head. But I'm going to go over some of the things and some of the ways that we are using our bonnet incorrectly. And do you know how I found this out? Because I've been using my bonnet incorrectly, and my hair has been evidence of me using my bonnet incorrectly. So please learn from my mistakes. Also, if you see me look over here to the left, it's because I have some notes, because I want to make sure that I give you guys all of the information that you will need to make sure that you stop using your bonnet incorrectly. So first, let's talk about what makes a good bonnet. You go to the store, you see a bunch of bonnets, you think, okay, I can just buy any bonnet, slap it on my head, and it's going to work. Wrong. So here are some things that you want to make sure of. You want to make sure that your bonnet is made of a satin or silk material. You will always hear people say silk or satin material. Why? Because of the type of fabric that silk and satin is. It's going to reduce the amount of friction that your hair has. So most people, when they just put their head on a pillow, they're just going at it. If you're a heavy sleeper like me, or you toss and turn, your hair is just rubbing up against the fabric of that pillowcase, and it's going to dry out your hair, and it's going to cause breakage. So one, you want to make sure that you are using silk or satin for your bonnets. And yes, they actually do make bonnets that are other types of materials. So you really got to read what type of fabric your bonnet is. The second thing, which I learned, which was a game changer for me, is when you pick your bonnet, you want to make sure that it doesn't have a really big, thick, elastic band. How many of you, just put in the chat, have had a bonnet and it had this really big, thick, elastic band? You noticed that there was like a lot of tension and it caused headaches. I know I have. And so that's some of the reasons why you don't want to get a bonnet that has a really big elastic band. One, it's going to cause tension on your hairline. Two, it's going to rub up against your hairline and cause hair breakage and hair loss. But don't worry. There's an easy solution if you happen to find yourself wearing a bonnet that has a really big elastic band. All you'll do is you'll take the big elastic band. This one doesn't have it, but let's just pretend it does. You'll flip it inside out and tuck it. So that way the elastic band isn't on your hairline. And instead the silk or satin material is what's going to be up against your hair and your skin. So that's going to be what you want to do if you have a thick elastic band for your bonnet. But if you don't, make sure that when you buy one, that it does not have that thick elastic band. Next, sizing. I cannot tell you how many bonnets I have purchased, and the one that is on my head is a prime example, that are too small. You want to make sure that your bonnet fully covers your hair. I'm going to need you all. Come closer, right? Okay. So I love you and y'all love me, right? So y'all not going to judge me when I show you that this bonnet does not fit all around my head, right? Okay, I appreciate you not clowning me in advance. So you want to make sure that your bonnet is going to cover all of your hairline in the front. Mine is covered, check. But then you see this back here? Yeah, it's not covering that part in the back. So you want to make sure that your bonnet covers all around your hairline and covers all around the nape of your hairline. I don't know about you, but I found that when I wear certain bonnets, the back of my hairline never really seems to grow and is always breaking. And that's because I've been purchasing bonnets that just leave my kitchen out here alone and stranded. So sizing absolutely, absolutely, absolutely matters. Make sure it fits all around your head. And lastly, solid stitching. This bonnet, again, is another prime example of a bonnet that is not well made and does not have solid stitching. Come a little closer again. Okay, y'all said y'all love me and you wouldn't judge me, so I'm going to trust you again. And just look at, ooh, do you see this hole in my bonnet? Yes, that is because the stitching is not strong. You want to make sure that you have a bonnet that has strong, solid stitching and is well made. Why? Because after 1 or 2 washes, your bonnet, just like this one, will give away the ghost and will become useless. Okay, I have a couple of questions in the chat. Aaron, the artist, said, why is it called the kitchen? Asking for a friend. You know, that is a really good question. All I know is that my grandmama called it the kitchen, and her grandmama called it the kitchen, and my mama called it the kitchen. So that's why I'm thinking it's called a kitchen. Another reason why, and I will do my research, is that growing up as a little girl, most curly-haired girls, every Easter or holiday, had to sit in the kitchen and get their hair done. So that may be another reason why it's called the kitchen, is because I would sit in the kitchen and my mama would take the hot comb over the stove and proceed to straighten my hair. So that may be another reason why it's called the kitchen. But good question, Aaron. Okay, so right now, for those of you who just joined, we're talking about why you're using your bonnet the wrong way. And we just went over a couple of things that you want to look out for when it comes to your bonnet. So quickly recapping, you want to make sure it's made of a silk or satin material. You want to make sure that you avoid thick elastic bands. You want to make sure that the sizing is right and it covers all of your head. And lastly, you want to make sure that it has solid stitching so you're not looking embarrassed like me when your bonnet has holes in it and you can actually pull your hair through. Okay. So now that we've gone through some of the things that your bonnet should have, how to wear your bonnet. And I mentioned this when I talked about the sizing, so I got a little bit ahead of myself. But again, when you are wearing your bonnet, you want to make sure that it covers all of your hairline. So that means the front and even the back. So if this bonnet were being worn correctly, it should cover all the back of my head. Again, this is an example of a bad bonnet. So I have other bonnets that actually do this, but for demonstration purposes, this is what you're getting today. Lastly, what they do not tell you about wearing a bonnet. The hair underneath your bonnet, it matters. I'm going to repeat that one more time because we take this bonnet life for granted. The hair underneath your bonnet, it matters. And here's just a quick example, just visually, because I'm a visual person, as to what I mean by that. Let's just assume you take like a big handful of hay, just like dry straw hay that you would find at like a farm. If you were to take that hay in your hands and rub it together, that dry hay would just break off and fall apart right in your hands. Why? Because it is dry, it lacks moisture, there's no elasticity in it whatsoever. And our hair is the exact same way. There have been some days where I have either not been feeling well, or I've been really stressed out from work, husband, dog, When you've just had one of those days, sometimes you just want to lay in bed, just throw on a bonnet and just rock that for like a week. But if the hair underneath that bonnet is dry and brittle, just like that hay, even though your bonnet is supposed to be protecting your hair from your pillowcases and some of the other fabrics that you have around you, your bonnet can't protect your hair from itself. So the key is to make sure that your hair is moisturized and healthy before you put that bonnet on. Otherwise, again, that dry hair is just rubbing up against itself in this nice silk and satin bonnet, and it's going to be causing breakage. So one easy way to make sure that your bonnet is going to be helping your hair to be healthy and protected is to steam your hair. You can use a professional steamer. You can pump up the heat in your shower and allow the steam to come up in your bathroom and allow the steam to help your hair that way. Or if you just have a shower cap, you can spray your hair or mist your hair with water, slap on that shower cap, and the heat of your body temperature will naturally cause that shower cap to steam up, causing your hair to become moisturized, softer, and more luscious. So if you are going to use a bonnet, make sure that you're keeping your hair moisturized and healthy. Don't just slap on a bonnet on any old kind of hair, because it will not do you justice. So as we are going outside, because I don't know about you, but I'm all the way live and all the way outside, I care about you. And I want to make sure that all my hot girls that are having that hot girl summer, that you have a hot hair summer as well. So this is the first of many. Again, hot hair summer series are going to be happening every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this has been the episode of You've Been Using Your Bonnet Wrong. I really hope you enjoyed it. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat below. Otherwise, be sure to follow us at numberedcurls.com. Thank you all for joining, and I will see you next Sunday for our Hot Hair Summer Series. Bye, everybody.